everyone, Juxtaposition here. Today's video will be entitled Staying Motivated. Right, nothing better than a dose of Led Zeppelin. Black Dog. Black Dog. This song was released November 8th, 1971. See if you can remember where you were back then. My parents finally allowed me to purchase a motorcycle, so I got the motorcycle in June 1971 and been riding it relentlessly for 4 months when this song appeared on the radio, Black Dog. It was very motivational, and all I wanted to do at that time was race motorcycles. My parents didn't know, but I had been riding motorcycles for 3 years without their permission nor knowledge. You know, it's always better to ask for forgiveness than for permission, because especially when you know that you'll be denied your permission. So when I popped a wheelie in front of my mother and rode the motorcycle on one wheel all the way up my street beyond her line of sight, and then came flying back and said, "What do you think of that, Mom? What do you think of them apples?" She was impressed that I could just jump on the motorcycle wearing my helmet and my Bell helmet. She couldn't believe that I could command that kind of skill without practice. But she didn't know about the 3 years I've been training with my friend John Wells in another neighborhood. Anyway, I want to talk to you about being motivated in adversity. And of course, we're in the TerraSwarm age of human augmentation. Real ID verified, tagging humans like dairy cows or farm animals, chickens, goats, sheep, cows, meat cows, milk cows, and weather warfare, tornadoes, dust storms, hurricanes, escalating insurance, FEMA expanding the flood zones. Let's see what else we got. We got forest fires will be coming to California. We've already had lots of fires, and we have, mudslides are common. And these are all military aspects of Geneva, Switzerland, NATO. NATO is headquartered in Geneva with the United Nations. They're part of the United Nations, as is the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund and the World Health Organization and Climate Action and the World Economic Forum. They're all headquartered in Geneva, Switzerland. So don't be surprised when you hear about immigration problems, or you hear about pandemics or plandemics or hoax pandemics or bird flu or monkeypox or the Omicron, remember the deadly Omicron variant of COVID, or the coronavirus, which preceded the COVID hoax, certification of vaccine identity, artificial intelligence acronym. Don't be surprised, because it's all been planned out years ago, like 15 to 20 years ago, in Geneva, Switzerland, in a conference room, down the road from the Knights Templar and Propaganda Due and a satanic group of people that wear black robes. All right, so it's hard to stay motivated when you're being surrounded by mendacity, balderdash, and poppycock every day with the Mockingbird media, which, yes, is laughing at you. They're mocking you to see how dumb you are, to see if you want another dose of your Jeffrey Epstein secret files that are redacted so you can't read the names. Like, what's the point? I thought the guy was dead, right? Didn't you kill him in 2019? Just before you killed Aaron Valente, age 33? Didn't we take care of Jeffrey Epstein in a federal prison in New York, where you have cameras next to the toilet and you can't tell me what happened to Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, everyone has a right to be afraid or fearful. But if you want to be successful, we have to set fear aside, because you see, fear is an emotional reaction. You know, it's just kind of a quick knee jerk. And but courage is a decision. If you want to be courageous, all you have to do is just decide. You just decide to be courageous, to be brave, to be unafraid, to be fearless. It's a decision you make. Okay? Most people don't make that decision. I think you can see that. They're all sheep being led off to a Trump Freedom City or Kamala Harris cremation oven. That's where they're all going. But the courageous ones, they're not going to be marched off. They're not going to be marched off voluntarily. Anyway, by you having a plan and preparing to be successful and being a paid member of my Juxtaposition One channel, you should be prepared for what's coming. What's coming. And this channel will help you emotionally prepare as well as technically prepared and understand the language and lingo and the lexicon of terms that NATO military forces does use with respect to human augmentation, which they call gene editing. They call it gene editing. They call it CRISPR DNA enhancements. They call it central bank digital currency. They call it cryptocurrency. They call it neuromodulation. They call it molecular engineering. Those are some of the words that mean tethering humans to the cloud 24/7 and having a HAL 9000 manage you, micromanage your life and how much energy you use, your internet access, your banking, security clearances, your activities of daily living, your travel, your geofencing. All right? That's all coming, and most of it's already arrived. It's already arrived. You need to be intentional about your life, okay? Because your intentions will become your reality. So if you intend to take vacations, smoke weed, snort coke, drink vodka, chill out, watch another episode of the Beverly Hillbillies, which is perfectly okay with me. So it's a banking tutorial. If you do that, if that's the plan, then you're going to fail. You're not going to be victorious. You're not going to succeed. You're going to lose your life. You can't party like it's 1999 anymore. We already passed that 2000 deadline. We passed it. And you need to be intentional about survival. You need to be serious and sincere and authentic about it. Then you have a chance. Then you can lay the foundation for what comes next, which is your principles of survival. Okay? And success in this context is decided by your survival of living a somewhat independent life. That's considered a victory. That's considered a victory. Okay? Tough times don't last, but tough people do. I know some tough people, and I'm very fortunate in my life to have some mentors, and I'll give you the names of some of them. Roger DeCoster, someone who I met a couple of different times in my life over a 50-year period. I've met him a couple of times, but I followed his life closely in the media and in magazines and newspapers and through friends of friends who see him regularly down in Orange County, California. I did get Roger DeCoster's autograph when I was 15 years old, and he is my hero. He's a 5-time world champion of motocross racing and won the Belgium national title at least 8 times. He's won Trophies to Nations and Motocross to Nations, Olympics of motorcycling a dozen times. He's a winner of winners. He's a champion of champions. I'm really impressed with how he's lived his life. He's came to America. He lives in California now, but I mean, he was a Belgian. He speaks 5 languages. I know he speaks French and English and Flemish and German and Italian. That's what I know. He probably speaks Spanish also. Anyway, it's not a video completely about Roger DeCoster, but if you Googled Roger DeCoster and watched interviews with him, I would find it motivational for you to do that. Dave Gregg, PhD in chemistry from Dartmouth University and University of Michigan. He's a hero of mine and educated me as to photonic weapon systems in 1974. Shortly after this Led Zeppelin song came out, I was dealing with the brilliant genius of Dave Gregg, who has over 275 patents with the Department of Energy having to do with weapon systems. I'm not really proud of that, but I am proud of him. And he is a genius with laser lights, light energy, light photonics, beam bending, beam steering, also ultrasonic sound, sound weapons, sonar weapons. He knows that. He knows coal gasification, toxic waste disposal, handling of weapon systems in a safe environment. He knows about tunnel systems, underground facilities, Site 300, Site 200, Site 100 for Cal Berkeley, Livermore, and Tracy. He knows all of the sites. He spent hundreds of hours at all the locations um, that involved the cyclotronic machine of Ernst Lawrence and scintillation machines. Anyway, he's a brilliant guy. He was voted Asshole of the Month for Hustler magazine when he wrote a book on civil defense, which poked fun at Ronald Reagan's Star Wars program, pointing out that it was absurd and couldn't happen and it's implausible and yada yada. I took a lot of hate mail from that. No one would publish his book. He had to self-publish the book. He self-published the book, paid for it with his own money. Hustler tried to humiliate him with Asshole of the Month status. I explained that this is a huge honor. There's only 12 Assholes of the Month every year in Hustler, and you're one of them. And that cheered up Dave. And Dave went on to be a huge superstar of the scientists of the lab. And I have so many Dave Gregg stories, which I don't have time to get into. Michael Chatfield, PhD in economics and certified public accountant and professor of accounting and finance at numerous universities. And he caught my attention. He made complex problems simple. He simplified the polynomial. He could break things down into their simplest terms. Michael Chatfield. He taught me that I should master my topic and to understand what is necessary to solve a problem and what most definitely is not necessary. And what is not necessary, Michael Chatfield refers to as a red herring, something to waste your time but won't help you solve your problem. Does that sound like watching the evening news tonight, right? The evening news is just red herrings with a little bit of truth in there, but it's mostly just counterintelligence. Counterintelligence is red herring. Red herring is meaningless, superfluous, poppycock, unsubstantiated balderdash. That's what a red herring is. So if you want to be successful, you need to have your bullshit radar turned up and you need to recognize red herrings and quickly move on. Do not go down the rabbit hole. And the military, NATO forces, they want you spending all your time spinning your wheels in the rabbit hole. Dick Bugsy Mann, he's a high school graduate, but he's a twice grand national champion in motorcycle racing, 5 different disciplines of motorcycle racing. He's the grand champion of all the champions, and he did that 2 times in his life. And I believe he did in 1969 and 1971. Roger DeCoster, high school graduate, and he has 5 world championship titles. And then I have another gentleman, I don't really want to mention his name out loud. And then I have my Uncle Richard, who was the person who I spent the most time with was with my Uncle Richard because he's family and we did business together. CPA and lawyer. We referred clients to each other and we were involved in many complicated and emotionally difficult problems for our clients, which we then, navigated together. And he was older and more experienced, and he was also a big shot at the American Bar Association for a few years in Chicago, Illinois, and where he was encouraged to go back to San Francisco and get lost. In other words, he was a thorn in the side of some of the biggest law firms in America who were unhappy with my Uncle Richard because he was making them feel very uncomfortable with their ethical responsibilities. All right, so if you want to be successful and stay motivated, you need to shed associations that will not benefit you, right? So if you have friends that smoke marijuana and drop acid and snort cocaine or are a little flaky as far as dates and times and are late to appointments, you might want to be making some executive action with them, be assertive and intentional, and do what my mother says, use tough love on them, say that, look, I'm really busy now and I can't associate with you for a while. We need to hit the pause button, right, and hit a timeout on this relationship. And concurrently, you want to take the time that you were wasting with people who weren't helping you, because of their bad habits. Their activities of daily living were not congruent with being successful. Take all that time and invest it with people who you respect, admire, and who are successful. Okay, people who do show up for appointments, people who show up. They show up for their life, and they show up on time for their job, for their life, for their sport. They show up. Number three, they're dressed according to the job. So the job may be casual attire, could be business attire, could be, private banker attire, three-piece suit, tie, bow tie. It could be that you wear motorcycle uniform, boots, helmet, chest protector, kidney belt, knee protection, maybe a knee brace. If you're going to race motorcycles, you'll need that. If you're going to race bicycles, you're going to need a helmet. You're going to need the shoes are very important. The socks are important. Gloves and the appropriate breathable material, bib shorts and jerseys. Arm warmers, because it does get chilly if you race early in the morning at 7:30 or 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock whenever your race goes off. A lot of races start early because the car drivers want to be off the road by the time they get out of bed. They kind of want to be the king of the road, right? And might makes right. You don't want to get into an argument with a car riding a bicycle because you're gonna lose, right? So anyway, you want to develop your lifestyle around the types of people and associations, people you admire, respect, trust, depend on, and who have habits that you respect. You need to be able to budget your time and organize your schedule so that you don't overbook or overextend yourself. That's important if you're going to be successful. And again, you're going to take action. You're going to be intentional. You're going to be persistent. You're not going to quit. You're not going to quit. And by the way, if you put in the preparation work, you have very little reason to quit. You have a lot of reason. You're invested. You're fully invested emotionally, physically. You spent a lot of time. So the probability that you're going to drop out and quit goes down, down, down to Chinatown the more you prepare for battle. Also, you need to take a little time out. Everybody needs a day off. There needs to be quiet time in your life. You can listen to Frédéric Chopin or Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. You can do that. Or you can just have quiet. Find a quiet place with no noise, no leaf blowers, no wood chippers. And reflect back on your week's activities, your successes, your failures, your came up short. You tend to learn a lot more when you fail or you don't succeed in something. That's where the teaching lessons are. That's why you want to embrace failure. It's okay. Failure comes with success. It leads to success. If you're persistent, you won't quit. The only thing that remains will be success. And if you want to really be successful, make promises and then deliver on them. You show up on time, dressed appropriately, then you tell people what you're going to do intentionally, and then you friggin' do it. And we have a saying in motorcycle racing, it's not bragging if you deliver the trophy. If you do it, you say, I'm going to win this race, and you do it, no one can call you a braggart, okay? You're a person who's intentional, who's a serious person. You got to take a person like that seriously. If you don't, you're going to lose. All right? So, again, action will conquer your fear. Excellence does not require perfection. You do know that I go into all of my business adventures and all my motorcycle racing and all my bicycle racing with plan A, plan B, and yeah, I had plan C. There's a plan D. I didn't know what it was. I asked George Hansen, who was a supervisor at Ernst & Ernst. I asked him, I blew through plan A, B, and C. Does he have any suggestions? And I'll never forget what he told me. He said, juxtaposition, yes. Plan D. I said, what's plan D? He goes, punt. Punt. I never really understood how I could punt an assignment. But I think he was saying, let somebody else clean up this mess. Right? On aisle 7. All right, so it's one thing to be motivated. It's another thing to stay motivated. I do recommend that you choose a catalog of music that you like. And I think Frédéric Chopin and Mozart is excellent for the morning and the evening when you want to detune and get ready for bed, or when you're waking up gradually in the morning with a cup of coffee. You want to have soothing, beautiful music. All right. And then as you get closer to doing battle, like motorcycle racing, you choose something like Black Dog from Led Zeppelin from November 1971, because that'll get your pulse rate going. Your heart rate will be pounding. And then you can move from Led Zeppelin, through the Led Zeppelin catalog. My goodness me, when I was starting out in motorcycle racing, that was all about, the songs we listened to. Misty Mountain Rock, right? That was a very important song. And then Living, Loving Maid. Everybody wants a living, loving maid, right? All right. And then we had Hey, Hey, What Can I Do? Whole Lot of Love. Good Times, Bad Times. Those are rock and roll classical songs that you could win a motorcycle race listening to. Then, of course, you can move on to easier listening. Doobie Brothers, Listen to the Music. That's a good one. China Grove, Long Train Running, right? Then we have all the other great songs. Without You. That's a motivational song I won a motorcycle race to. Without You, Doobie Brothers. Jimi Hendrix, Joe, right? Fire. That's an upbeat song. Stone Free. Crosstown Traffic, right? And then we had Santana, Soul Sacrifice, Evil Ways, Black Magic Woman. I race motorcycles to those songs too. We have Jim Morrison and the Doors, Love Her Madly, L.A. Woman, Love Me Two Times. You betcha. Those are wonderful songs. Those are wonderful songs. You could sing along with Mick Jagger, Honky Tonk Woman, Up to the Country with Canned Heat, Alan Wilson, Wise Al. You can celebrate with Neil Young from the polio survivor from Toronto, Canada, Cinnamon Girl, right? Or you could sing a sad ballad, Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You by Led Zeppelin. Anyway, you get my drift. Is you have easy listening for chilling out or waking up, and then you have the battle cry music. That's a key to my success, is selecting the right music for the right occasion, and also selecting the right wardrobe for the right meetings. If it's a serious meeting, you want to dress seriously. And I've done that. And when I want to let the person know I'm serious, I do that. And it's not just how you elocute yourself, but it's how you present yourself in terms of attire and preparation, and bringing documents, but not bamboozling people with trash talk. You want to be real intentional about your behavior. And people will take you seriously, and you know what? They will respect you for that. You're not wasting their time, and they will do business with you, and they will give you money, and you don't need anything other than a handshake. I know, because I've done it. You don't need a written contract to get money from people. They will give you money if you show them that you are the real deal, that you do what you say you're going to do. If you do what you say you're going to do and you show up on time, dressed appropriately, you can't help but be successful. So please take all of those principles of motivation and success in mind whilst we go through this battle with Switzerland, with Zug, Switzerland, Zurich, Switzerland, Basel, Switzerland, and Bern, Switzerland, Geneva, Switzerland, Lugano, Switzerland. And we have to slay the dragon. And know that if you're wondering who's going to save you, just go in your bathroom, look in your mirror, and that is the person who is going to care about your situation more than anyone else. The person in the mirror. That's the person who is going to solve your problems. All right? Thanks for listening. Do like and share my videos because I am heavily shadow banned. Bye now.